Hello, Year 10, and welcome to this short modelling video to take you through exactly what you need to do for lesson 3 of your Romeo and Juliet work this week, where you are answering some more detailed questions on the 5 bolded quotes. Okay, so by the time that you're listening to this video, by the time that you're doing that lesson, you should already have done this lesson here, where you just go through these quotes and say something brief about who's saying them and what they're about. You should have done this lesson where you then put those quotes into your quote grid. Remember, you should now have that quote grid mailed to you in physical form, so you can write them out by hand, or you can do them on the PowerPoints that you've been given before. Okay, so there are lots of options for that. And then finally, lesson 3, here it is, actually analysing, thinking about those quotes in a bit more detail. All right, so this is exactly the same as the task that you did last week. The only thing that's different are the quotations, but we were thinking it's really valuable for me to take a second to talk you through the kind of things that you're looking for, the kind of things that you're going to want to write about. So again, in terms of practicalities, if I were you, I would just have a copy of these questions, okay? And then obviously you have lots of different options about how you do this. You might just be writing out by hand. If I were you, I would probably copy these directly into the submit to show my homework box. Now, obviously I can't do that because I'm not a student, so I don't have that option. So I'm just going to put them into a Word document. And of course, you could also just write into a Word document if you so please. All right, then I need to pick a quote. So again, we're just looking at the bolded ones. These have been picked for a reason. All right, so just generally, all these quotes here are just sort of, important moments of the scenes, of the acts that will kind of take you through the plot. The ones that we have bolded here is because they're particularly useful for analysis. So when it comes to thinking about your revision, these are the kind of quotes, for example, that you might want to commit to memory because they are particularly useful. So I'm going to use this one as my example. Hang thee, young baggage, disobedient wretch. I tell thee what, get thee to church a Thursday or never look me in the face. Sorry, never after look me in the face. So, as I'm sure you will know, that is Lord Capulet talking to Juliet when she has said that she will not marry Paris. Okay, so got my 6 questions here then that I'm going to answer based on this quotation. Now, you could just write, 1 or 2 sentences for question 1 to 6, sort of one at a time. That's fine. I've had some of my class who were kind of writing actually a little paragraph, and that paragraph just addresses all of the questions. That's completely fine too. Okay, however you want to do it. As long as these 6 questions have been addressed, then you are good to go. Generally speaking, I think you should be able to answer all 6 for any single quote. That is why they're there. If there's any where you feel like there isn't an obvious answer, rather than just leaving it blank, please do message your teacher first to say, actually, does this link to any other characters? I'm not sure, rather than letting us find that out when we open your work. Okay, that's what we're there for. We're ready to respond to any of your queries, so do reach out and ask if you are not sure. All right, so answering our questions for this quote. I'm not going to type as I'm speaking because then I will sort of distract myself. All right, so I'm just going to talk you through the kind of responses that I would give based on the questions for this quote. So what does the quote tell us about the character who is speaking? So this is Lord Capulet. This is a really interesting, pivotal moment for Lord Capulet's character because before this in the play, he seemed like quite a sort of caring, protective father. But this is the point where really I would say he shows his true colours. So we can see that actually he's very controlling, he's very aggressive, he's very oppressive of Juliet. He is really shocked that his previously obedient daughter is now failing to do as she's told, and that is making him deeply angry. So I would say it really shows that controlling, aggressive side of his character and really doesn't reveal anything particularly nice about him. Does this link to any other characters? Well, obviously it links to Juliet in that this is going to be the big kind of driving factor in her subsequent decision to fake her own death. The actions of her father here are going to drive forward the rest of the plot of the play. I also think that you can make a link to the other characters in the play who represent a kind of typical masculine male aggression. So I think you could probably make a really interesting link perhaps to a character like Tybalt, who is similarly aggressive, similarly feels the need to sort of lash out if he feels like his authority has been challenged in quite different ways, but I think there is definitely that link there. Question 3, does it link to any other parts of the play? Definitely. All right, so if we're thinking about Act 1, at the beginning of the play, Capulet is all very, my child is a stranger in the world, she's too young to get married, he's sort of being protective over her in terms of Paris's suit. This is a total sort of change from that, isn't it? So his character has really developed from our understanding of it in Act 1. So there's a link there. We could also link it to the end of the play. When everything is revealed, we find the dead Romeo and Juliet in the tomb, and then Capulet obviously feels sort of genuine regret for his actions and sort of eventually does learn a lesson and reconciles with Montague because of what's happened. So this is, Capulet right in the middle of the play at his angriest and most controlling, as we've said. How was it relevant to the theme you placed it under on your grid? See, if I was clever, I would already have the grid up. I think his family, one of the themes, if it is, I would definitely do that. So, or I could do something about masculinity. So I think we've talked a little about masculinity already. For family, thinking kind of contextually, it's all about the idea of family duty, isn't it? The reason the Capulet is so shocked is because, and now we're kind of answering question 5, the reason that Capulet is so shocked is because it's such an accepted norm that daughters will be obedient. It's such an accepted norm actually that all children in the Elizabethan age will be obedient to their parents, and their priority will be the family, maintaining the honour of the family, especially for a daughter, making a strong marriage to support the family. And that is why, obviously, Capulet is just so angry about Juliet in this scene, because she is going against all of that. Finally, question 6, what specific details of the quote, language, or around the quote, structure, are powerful or significant? All right, so this is really just asking you to do a bit of small picture analysis, which we know and love from our previous English lessons. So we've talked, I think, already really about the structure of the play and how this shows a change in Capulet's character and how this causes Juliet to fake her own death and therefore sort of prompts the rest of the action of the play. But there's definitely some stuff that we could say about the particular language used in the quote. So when you get to question 6, it would be really nice to see you picking out, techniques where you can see them. Remember that technique can be something as simple as a particular verb, a particular adjective, whatever you think is useful. So I might talk about that use of hang, the verb hang, very violent, very aggressive, showing his anger. I might talk about the adjective disobedient. Again, that's the shock, isn't it? That she would go against her father's wishes. And I might talk about that metaphor, young baggage, calling Juliet baggage, getting those connotations that she is a sort of object that Capulet owns, and that she is kind of worthless, and that she's just weighing him down and weighing the household down if she's not going to perform her role, if she's not going to be useful to the family by making the marriages that they want her to make. Okay, so as I said, that could be 6 separate answers, what I've just said there, or it could actually just form a sort of general paragraph where everything is touched on. Either would be fine. And then you would just need to repeat that process for the rest of the bolded quotes. Oh, I have a new notification. Who could that be from? We'll find out later. All right, so just repeat that 5 times, submit by Friday, and the job is done. All right, enjoy. As I've said, make sure that you message your teacher if you have any questions. Otherwise, enjoy your week.